If you've watched any of my videos, you'll know I'm not the best cameraman. I really do try to keep things in frame and not so shaky. And if I can, I'll reshoot 100 times if I have to, trying to get the shot as steady as possible with what little gear I have.
You sure about that?
But sometimes what I'm filming, I just can't reshoot. I can only film it once. And if I don't get it right, I have no choice but to either post it or trash it. Like when I'm painting something with a Ziploc bag over the camera because it seemed like a good idea at the time. My biggest headache is getting the final beauty shots of whatever it is that I'm showing off in the video, which I hate doing because my hands will inevitably take some focus from the model, or if I'm trying my hardest to hold the camera straight and not have shaky footage, as I said. The camera I have, the Sony ZV-E10, it doesn't have built-in stabilization, so it's always a fight just to get something half decent. Even when I use Catalyst Browse for stabilizing or the warp stabilizer effect in Premiere, it can only go so far. I've even gone as far as setting the camera on one of my nephew's fingerboards to try to get a good, dolly shot. Anyway, one of these handheld stabilizers popped up when I was browsing Amazon the other day, and I decided, what the hell, I'll give it a try. As it is, I think it will help me a lot to get better shots, but seeing it just gave me an idea, what if it had wheels, sort of like a camera dolly? V-slot rollers immediately came to mind as far as wheels would go. They're cheap, and the bearings aren't super fast like skateboard bearings would be, so it should sit in place and not just, roll away from me too much. Anyway, now that I had decided on wheels, I needed to figure out a way to mount them to the stabilizer. To make a caster. I didn't want to use screws to hold it on if I could help it. I wanted it to be something I could easily take off and put back on by hand if I needed to. So I thought I had to make something that sort of clips into place. I started in Fusion by making a rectangle the size of the legs, or the skids I guess you would call it, on the stabilizer. Then I built around that. I came up with this shape that will hopefully slide on and grab the skids on the opposite side of where they slide on, just to, hold them in place. Then I dropped down some squares and formed them to make the forks to hold the rollers in place. And I added holes for the screws with a little extra on the inside to account for the thinner rollers. And then a shallow insert for the M5 nut to sit, just enough to hold it still while I screw the roller in place. After that, I just prettied it up a bit with fillets here and there on the edges. And I added a hole up top where I could add an M3 screw. In case these do want to slide, I can use the screw to kind of hold it in place. And here's my first test print, and to my surprise, it fit perfect the first time. So, I jumped back into Cura, printed 4 total, and turned the fuzzy skin option on, just to give them a little bit of a nicer look in the end. And here's how they turned out. Pretty nice. So I peeled the brim away and grabbed the rollers and a set of M5 nuts and screws and started putting them together. It'll be okay. You could probably use washers here, but I thought it would be fine without them, and so far I haven't had any issues. Couldn't get it from the inside out. Oh yeah. Looks alright, huh? Look at that. And that's it. It now has rollers. But real quick, here's the difference in shakiness just between holding the camera by hand and having it mounted to the handheld stabilizer. And as for using it like a dolly, well, here you go. Alright, that's all I've got for you today. If you enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. I appreciate you tuning in. Catch you in the next one. And as always, have the best day ever.